one of the main things that leadership or leaders looking for is the ability, one, to think big and to have an holistic view, but it's not enough. The second thing I think is execution. I know many great people that can think, big and have the holistic view and analyze, but they're still lacking, kind of the ability to execute. If you can combine, you don't have to be the best strategic in the world, but you don't have to be also the best tactical person in the world. But if you combine those two things together, you can think big on one hand and you can execute very well with people, then you have a very good mix that people will recognize and take you and give you the opportunity for the next level.
Hello and welcome to another open source workplace interview series. I'm here today with a really good friend, someone I'm very excited to have a chat with, Shahar Alster, who is the co-founder and CEO of Space IQ. But if this is the first time coming across our videos, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you receive all updates for all future videos. But first, let me say hello, Shahar. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. As I said, I've been super excited to have this interview with you. We've known each other for a few years now, and it feels good, man. Good to have you here.
It's my honor to be here, with you.
You're way too kind, way too kind. So Shahar, you're the co-founder and CEO of Space IQ. How did you, in your base in Silicon Valley, from Israel to Space IQ, Silicon Valley, what was that journey for you?
Yeah, so, as you can hear my accent, I'm from Israel. As you said, I have very heavy and sexy accent.
That's debatable.
But, yes, that's debatable, totally agree. But now, seriously, so I moved to Silicon Valley, California, something like almost 9 years ago. And the main reason for me to move from Israel to here is because the opportunities. Israel is a great country. We have a lot of technology in Israel, many pioneers, many good people, but it's still a very small place. California and United States, it's a huge place, many opportunities, many business partners, many great people here that you can work with them and explore places. So I found an opportunity like 9 years ago to work in a different startup than Space IQ. Of course, it was a cloud communication company. I was employee number 4. 2 years later, the company was, like 55, and then I started to run the company as the CEO of the company. The CEO kind of left. And then for me, since then, I have another interesting story to tell, but that's kind of summarize that. That's kind of why I moved from Israel to the Silicon Valley, California, because of the opportunities.
What do you think, that first company where you were employee number 4 and you moved to the CEO, what do you think were your attributes that actually got you that opportunity?
To move to become a CEO?
Yeah.
I think, one of the main things that, leadership or leaders looking for is the ability, one, to think big and to have an holistic view, but it's not enough. The second thing I think is execution. I know many great people that can think, big and have the holistic view and analyze, but they're still lacking, kind of the ability to execute. If you can combine, you don't have to be the best strategic in the world, but you don't have to be also the best tactical person in the world. But if you combine those two things together, you can think big on one hand and you can execute very well with people, then you have a very good mix that people will recognize and, take you and give you the opportunity for the next level. I think for me, I was very lucky that my ex-boss recognized this ability on execution and also to think big and started to give me more and more missions. So I started from running the technical operation team and then the product team and then the customer success team and then the security team and then almost everything in the company. And then the CEO told me, we are almost like 60 people. I need to do something else. You should go and just run the company because you are very good in that. Okay, let's do it. And I was already a CEO in Israel for another company. Mm-hmm. So I came with that experience and this background.
Got it. Now you've started a few organization companies. How did you transition out of that into the next one? And how do you pick and choose the type of company you want to be involved in, co-found, create? How do you do that?
I think, look, I think the most important thing is, and I'm going to repeat that probably a few times, it's the people and it's the culture. It must be a win-win. I'm sure there are great companies out there, many great companies, but not all of them fit to my culture. And so if it's not win-win, and if I don't think I have an impact on the business, if I don't think I have an impact on the customers, if I don't think I can fit culturally to that company, it doesn't matter about the money. It doesn't matter about, what they're doing. It doesn't matter about the vision and the mission. It has to fit culturally. And I'm not saying my culture is better than their culture. You can find many types of cultures, but it has to fit to my culture. Then you have a win-win. So for me, the first thing to do is identify who are the leader, who is the leadership team that's running the team, that's going to be my peers, my boss, or the people that are going to work with me. And if we are on the same page in terms of work ethic and how we think about the business and what is our mission, and get exactly the same excitement about building great products and help our customers, then we are on the same page. That's number one, even before the business, before I even ask what the company is doing, what are the people are doing, who are those people? That's for me always was priority number one.
Where did you get that insight? I mean, where did that come from? A past experience? Did that come from what you've been taught, or just that was something in you?
I think it's a combination of everything. I think, after 20 years, that working in many companies, what I found, I wake up every morning and come to work, not because the money that you can make or because of the salary. Of course, salary is important and money is important. You have to pay your, your taxes, your mortgage, with everything with money. But what gives people the energy to wake up in the morning and come to work is because of their peers, is because the people that surround them, is because the people that they're working with. And if they have the right team, they can work super hard, even if the money is not that great, but the motivation is there. So after a few years, and I'm a people person, I love working with people, I love to speak with people, I love people. So I think that's kind of my motivation, is to pick and choose the people that I would like to work. And, some of the people that here have been working with us for like 3 companies.
I was actually just going to touch on that. Is that the reason why, you found the people who you like working with, who you interact and give you energy and vice versa? And to your point, right, you've worked for them at multiple companies. Is that why you think you've worked together for that length of time, but also been some of your success as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. First, the team here, and I can tell a bit later the story, how we kind of found this company and why we opened this company. But the team, the core team of this company, that's our 3rd company together. We started 9 or 10 years ago in a different company. The company was acquired by Deutsche Telekom. And then a year later, all the management left. We ran another project and then another project. And then we opened this company. So it's the same core team. It's like a family. And once you have your team that you have been working for so long, you can execute much faster. So although it's very fun to work with people that but if I put it on the side, the fun part, which is also super important, you can execute and you can build a company much faster. There's no, how to work with the people, how to execute, you know the devil, you know what is working and you know what it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So that's give you an amazing competitive advantage as a team, organic team that has been growing and running for so long.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've touched on and you've hinted a few times here how Space IQ came to be. And, I heard the story and I was like, wow, that's incredible. So please tell the audience the story of how Space IQ came to be.
Sure, absolutely. So, as my background, I've never worked, surprisingly, in the workplace. I never run a facility in my life. I never been a facility management. I never realized how, this work is so tough and how much things you need to do as a facility manager or real estate manager or something, this entire ecosystem. In 2015, after we left the startup that was acquired, the management team, we said, okay, we have another year or another few months to think about what is the next company would like to open, where we can find an environment, a market that need our help. When I say our help, we are coming from a technology background. The things that we would like to do most is to bring technology and to just help people, to bring and to build a very technology on one hand, very powerful, on the other hand, very simple to use, that can change people's life, that we can help people to do what they're doing in a much easier way and just help them to be the heroes of the organization. So we started to look what are the markets out there that need innovation that we can digitize. We went from, from the sales market to the marketing market to the engineering market. And we have found in the enterprise organization that almost every market is already been digitized. And the last market that hasn't been digitized is the workplace market. Kind of funny, at the beginning we call it facility, and then we call it real estate, and then real estate technology, and then really realize there is a huge market of workplace which contains facility and real estate and asset and so many things. And this market hasn't been digitized. And we were in shock how much money is spent and how this market is so complicated. It's not something, it's nice of doing business and that's it. So we started to explore this market and we started to interview. For like 3 months, we interviewed 30 facility managers, and directors and real estate people from Google and from any company that you can just imagine. We asked them, how do you run your space? How do you make decision on real estate? What kind of technology are you using? What are the tools? Do you have the Salesforce of the workplace? Do you have the Jira or the Marketo of the facility? And we were in shock. We said it can be. It doesn't make sense that big companies, amazing companies with great people, need to use old school technology, or sometimes not technology at all. Sometimes it even paper, a floor plan that you put behind you on the wall and you come with a marker and you play. And we said, wow, it can be, it just can be. And again, 2 months later, we realized, wow, that's a huge market that hasn't been digitized. All the markets already digitized. Now it's the time for the workplace. And we said, wow, that's the company we would like to do. And this is the people we would like to help them, because these people need technology. And we sure we can learn this market. We sure we can bring technology. And our mission and vision is to help these companies digitize their workplace. And on the day-to-day, to help them a much better workplace, optimize the workplace. So their life and their employees' life is going to be much better. We opened the company in 2016, the beginning of 2016, we opened the company. We brought the entire team back from the previous company, raised money. That was fun as well. I can tell you that story in a minute, how to raise money for the workplace environment. And then 3.5 years later, without even planning, WeWork came and acquired the company. And unfortunately, things didn't go well with WeWork, as everyone see the news, but that was kind of a really fast journey.
It is a very fast journey. And I remember being first introduced to Space IQ and yourself, and you were a very small, young, nimble company and sort of evolved rapidly,
Yeah.
But so obviously you identified an opportunity in the workplace. You specifically targeted one area. How did you decide what area to focus on? How did you come to that decision?
Amazing question, and one of the most tough questions that every startup in the early days need to face. You see a big problem, you find a huge problem, and then, okay, so where should I start? Should I start with space management? Should I start with lease management? Should I start with asset management? Should I start with meeting room? There are so many places to start, but the key, ask your customers. Ask the people that know much better than you about this environment. We came as new, on one hand, we were kind of pioneers in the way we thought about the industry, but we never worked in this industry. So put ego on the side and we just ask. We asked like 40, 50 customers, potential customers back then. We asked them, you have all these problems. Pick one problem. Pick one problem that you want me to help you to solve. And 90% of them, chose the space management. Give me the maps. Give me the location. Give me something that I know that I will have control again, that in one click I can see where all of my people and I can manage them, and I can't live in the dark anymore. Start with that. And on top of that, which is the core, it's the data. Add more layers and more layers for real estate and application and mobile app and meeting room and data and analytics and more and more and more and more. But that's the core. And it's also fits very well to our vision, because our vision was from day one was to help companies to optimize the workplace. You can't optimize or be in a mission to optimize the workplace if you don't have the core data. The core data is the employees, it's the location, it's the asset, that's the most important thing. And on top of that, you can run for 20 years, just add and end functionality to customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so obviously, whenever you decide, okay, that's the way we're going to go, how do you then prioritize? Because in essence, I have to imagine as a CEO, you have investors who are telling you to go one way, or WeWork these days are saying, this is what we want you to focus on. You've got your customers that maybe saying, I need this, I need this. We know a little bit of something about that. And then you've got your own product team that says, no, these are the things that we want to implement. You've got your customer success team saying, actually, here's some of the things that we need to do. How do you as a CEO make the decision? And maybe you don't, maybe you delegate the decision, but how do you determine the right next step?
Yeah, I think for any company, and especially for a startup, this process is one of the most toughest process ever, because you need to do so much, but you have so little. Now, interestingly enough, you have your own vision, the management vision. We would like to go in the future, 2 years from now, and to do that or to do this. As you said, you also have the investors. You need to take more money from customers and just build them something that they want. And on the other hand, you can find customers that can be very opinion and ask for that and for this because they must have it. How you juggle between those three things? So some of the work I'm delegate to Noam, my partner, which you also know is another co-founder in the company. And he is amazing, one of the best ever product person that I know. But even as a CEO, you're probably the only person in the company that can see everything. You can see the entire picture. And sometimes you need to make a really tough decision. And these tough decisions is, sometimes let it go on one customer and say to the customer, sorry, my friend, we love you, but we just can't, because it's not going to benefit other people. Sometimes you need to fight with your investors. I know, guys, you gave me money to open the company, but this is really a distraction from our vision. And sometimes you need to go and move a little bit from your vision, a little bit. But the number one thing that always guides us, which is kind of our North Star, is the vision. Because it's really easy to go right or left from your vision, from customers' needs or to investors. You need to remind yourself, why are we here and why we're doing that? We are doing that to digitize the market. We are doing that to optimize the workplace. So we need to make sure what we are doing is going to accomplish that mission and the long-term vision.
When did you create that vision, and do you change it?
So from day one, we saw this kind of inefficiency in the markets. I think from day one, we understood that the only way to do it is provide, kind of holistic view and can see everything, that our platform will see everything. But we created this vision from day one, and we saw from day one the opportunity to go and disrupt this market by, providing our cloud platform. And our vision, from day one never changed. The only thing that was changing, we thought we are going to play in the facility market, in the facility management market. And we thought, wow, that's the market for us. But when we started to dig in more and more with all these people that we interviewed, we understood it's much bigger than that. It's not just the facility, it's the people experience, it's the real estate, it's the asset. There are so many things in this huge market. And then we changed the name from kind of optimize the facility, optimize the workplace, which is much broader and much more right for us as a company.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Interesting, interesting. So what, obviously, you know, you say you're a people person, and one of the first things you do whenever you interact with trying to develop your own plan is people. When you are trying to acquire talent, so you're interviewing and you're going the other way, do you change or do you present who you are as a leadership team, who you are as a person? And does that then take you, do you take that in consideration whenever you're trying to hire talent?
Absolutely. You know, as a young company, almost probably 99% of the people from day one that, you know, going to join to the SpaceIQ family, doesn't matter if you are customer success or sales or engineer, I'm the last person that's even going to, I'm always in the process of interview. So if it's engineer, you know, he speak with engineers, they give you all the tests, making sure you know how to write code, he's aware of all the technology, but I'm always come last. I'm in the last of the process, and I'm tell the story of SpaceIQ, and I'm try to use as much as I can my experience by identified, you know, kind of the work ethic that that person has and the personality of that person. Again, it's only an interview. It's not always easy to find, but it's still, I find myself that I can read people pretty well most of the time, not always, most of the time. But it's for me, it's super important also to tell the story of SpaceIQ to that person. I want to make sure that that person, that candidate, is also interested in joining SpaceIQ, not because he needs a job, because he loves the people, he loves the energy, he believes in what we are doing. If it's not win-win, it's not going to work. I'm sorry, I don't believe in that. It's not going to work. So what I'm trying to do in this last phase of the interview, on one, to tell the story of SpaceIQ and just to give that person my view as the owner of the company, as the CEO, the co-founder here. Let me tell you why we're here and why we're doing that. So they can get excited and can ask questions. And on the second thing, what I'm trying to see is to identify if that person is going to fit to the company culture as much as I can in a very short time. And I care less if he knows, I don't know, this type of programming, or if he has 5 years of experience or 10 years experience in that market. I care more about the person. I care less about his technical background or professional background. If he's a good person, he can fit us, he can learn it. Yeah. But number one, he needs to fit the company culture and has the same work ethic like we have.
And is the culture that's created, is that something that the leadership team have tried to instill? Or do you think it's changed as the, you know, the people come on, as your team actually gets larger, as in the workforce gets larger? Has that sort of evolved, or do you try to, you know, you set that vision, you set that culture that you wanted to create, and you try to maintain that? How do you see that? How do you manage that?
So in my view, again, you know, that's my view. My view, you need to create the culture from day one. You can start work and say, you know, a year later, you know, we are now 20 people, let's start to create a culture. It doesn't work like that. Culture, it's something that takes time to build. But once you build it, it's like a relationship. You have to maintain it. You have to put always more energy, more energy. You have the baseline after a few years, but you have to maintain it. And we, from day one, we built the culture here. And for us, it was pretty easy because kind of the organic team already was there. The organic team, the 6, 7, 8 people, we already came with this culture from like 8 years ago. So we started from a really good starting point. But our culture was always been, you know, we are very excited from the same thing. We are very excited to build things. We are very excited to helping customers. And we are very excited. We have the joy of doing things. But on the other hand, we are very kind of love to make it as fun. And we like, you know, and jokes, and it's fun, and it's open, and every employee can come, hey, Shahar, I need this room, get out of here, although I'm the CEO. No one cares about that. We have this open communication culture, and we can speak between each other. It doesn't matter which level you are. It doesn't matter which office you are. This is not my company. This is our company. And once you think about it, this is everyone's company, then it's a different mindset. Mm. And it's super important, in my view, to be successful, you know, a CEO or successful, to build a successful startup.
Yeah, no, and one of the things, I mean, just echoing just what you've said, one of the things and attributes that I've witnessed as I've sort of spent time with you and the team is the way you provide information, feedback, and you have those little conversations. You like one-on-ones, and you do a lot of one-on-ones. Is that atypical of how you like to manage, or is that just like one-off things that I've experienced? Is that your typical?
I think it's combination. I'm a big believer of one-on-one from time to time because when you are in one person, only one person kind of interact with you. So you're two people in one room, the dynamic is different. It's a different dynamic. Then the conversation become not official conversation. And when the conversation is not official conversation, you know, people are more open to listen. People are more open to say what they think. And my main job as a CEO is very simple. You know, people ask me, hey, Shahar, what is your job as a CEO? And I said, for me, it's very simple. I need to raise, that's money of people. I need to raise money for the company, and I need to raise people, help recruit them. I need to make sure that people understand what are the goals, and I need to remove the obstacles. You know, if you are busy, I will order the pizza, I will order the food, I will bring you a new chair, I will do that. You need to work. I need to remove, as a CEO, you need to remove all the obstacles, all the bureaucracy. You don't have a laptop, take my new computer. I will order a new one for me, but take mine. Use, work. I need to make sure that all my employees have the right set of tools so they can be successful. That's your main job as a CEO. Make sure that the people see the light, see where to go, remove all the things from them that interrupt them to go there. And some of that can be done and great by one-on-one, you know, and some of that you need to do in kind of in a big audience. But if you combine those two things together, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I was just going to ask you next, what would be the one trait you'd say each entrepreneur needs? And I guess you've just articulated exactly what you think that is. So one question I like to ask everybody at Shahar is if you were to give any guidance or advice on maximizing workplace productivity, employee experience, given as a CEO and what you do at your organization, what guidance and advice would you give?
So let me divide this question for two. So first, I think about organizations that, you know, people that run in the facility and run in the workplace. I can give you my advices at least, you know, for them, and then on the personal note, what I'm doing on a day-to-day. So I think what I found is most of the time people surprised by the results of how the workplace actually running. What I mean by that, if you're a person and you try to run, let's say you're a facility director, or you want to run, you have like 5, 6 buildings, you need to do two things together. You need to find the data. Take the data, how many people you have in any building, how many people are coming to the building, how many people actually there, get the data. But on the second hand, which people find kind of, oh, that's really weird, find some time and observe. Go to the physical floor. You know, if it's in New York, make a trip to New York, you know, twice a year, it's okay. Go to the physical floor and sit for 1 hour, spend one day, twice a year, and observe and see what actually, you know, is happening on the surface, and speak with employees and ask them, what do you think? What do you like? And then combine the data, kind of the data that you have in your spreadsheet or hopefully in SpaceIQ, and combine it with your observation, and you will find a lot of conclusion and a lot of insight. Once you have that, once you want to make a solution, if you find a problem and you want to fix it, make sure you have the right patient to do it, because many of these changes that you're going to do in the workplace are a culture change. Take people and move them from a physical desk to kind of hoteling. That's create a culture change, and that takes some time. So be patient enough to make sure that you have enough patience and you have enough kind of time to do it, because it creates some culture change. Again, that's for kind of my advice. You know, make sure you have all the information, you want to make the change, and be realistic. You can't take a company of 1,000-person company and, you know, tomorrow no one will have their desk. Start from small, baby steps, and then you will create, and then you will achieve what you want. On a personal level, for me as a CEO that come into the office and people, you know, sometimes I think, look at me as a CEO. What I'm doing, I'm treating my office, my space, like it's my home. That's, I think, the only way. Respect the workplace, respect your workspace, what, surround you, respect your environment. It doesn't matter for me if there are other people that are responsible of cleaning or removing the chairs. If I'm leaving the meeting rooms, I bring in all the chairs to the center. If I'm going to the coffee machine and there is no cups and there is some cups, in the closet, I take them out. Treat it like your own house, like your home. It's like your environment. Respect it, and then other people will try to respect it, and then more people respect it, and just create a much better space and much better workplace for everyone. That's kind of my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, and thank you. So obviously, you walk into the office, as you said, you're the CEO, right? People are going to take point of your energy, how you act, and everything else, right? You set the pulse of that office. So whenever you get into the office, how do you ensure that you actually are there to be productive each day, that your energy is being felt through your office? Is there things you do that'll enable you to be your most productive?
Yeah, I think, when I'm coming to the office, I'm making a lot of noise most of the time. That's my personality. I'm coming and putting some music. Hey guys, what's up? And that's okay. Shahar is here, and start to talk about, I'm bringing the energy level up. But again, that's my personality. There are other people that kind of have their own style. They're calm, they're quiet, they will open the computer, they receive the latest report. No, I'm coming most of the time with a lot of noise, and people like that. And this is part of the culture. And you know me for a few years.
Of course.
That's,
I know.
and I think that's kind of nice, especially, Monday morning, I'm the first thing that I'm doing, I open the Sonos, the music, put loud music. Hey guys, wake up, and that's kind of, that's nice. That wakes up people. That's what I'm doing.
Good. That's good. And I can imagine you walking in and doing that. Yeah, I could see that easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Shahar, look, thank you. I really appreciate you giving your time. I know how super busy you are. Is there anything you want to say that we maybe haven't touched on that you want to mention?
One last thing that I always keep saying, I think another interesting story. Do we have another 2 minutes?
Of course, yes.
One of the fun stories, and there is conclusion in the end that I want to finish with that. In 2015, in the end of 2015, kind of middle 2015, after we decided that we would like to open a company in the workplace, back then it was facility, we said, okay, let's go. And, this is Silicon Valley, build a nice presentation and raise money, bring everyone, engineers, product, build an amazing company, we build an amazing platform. Today, as almost any unicorn using our system. Today, it's very easy to talk about Space IQ. After 4 years, WeWork acquired us. But back then, 4 years ago, even more than 4 years ago, that was really tough for us. We built a presentation, and although we were very successful in the previous company, many investors spoke with us because we, sold our previous company. But when we tried to pitch them, hey guys, this amazing industry here, it's called the workplace, and we're going to digitize, we're going to build technology, we're going to help people, and people, what? What are you talking about? Workplace? Who cares about the workplace? Facility? I don't know who's my facility manager. Probably someone in the dungeon over there moving chairs or cleaning the carpet. And I said, no, guys, it's not carpet cleaning. Facility and real estate, it's much bigger than that. It's the largest expense category for every company. There's a lot of money. There is employee productivity. There's so many things out there. And it took us a very long time. And again, until we got money from investors, until we found these 2 investors that, we believe in that. Because it was really hard to tell people about the workplace. Today we are at the end of 2019 and people, oh, of course, workplace, WeWork, blah, blah, blah. Everyone kind of, there is more awareness.
Yeah.
2015, workplace, IT something. No, it's not IT. Workplace is physical. Okay, what is that? People, but it took us, let's see if I remember, 45 meetings with investors to convince them, more meetings, different investors, yes, to convince them why there is something big here. What I'm trying to say and want to finish this conversation is, it's what I keep telling, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's going to take time, but if you believe in what you're doing, continue to believe in what you're doing, even if 95% of the world telling you, I don't get it. If you get it and you understand what it is, and you have good people surround you that still get it, and you believe in that from your gut, you will have it. You will have it. And again, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Be patient, be strong, and enjoy what you're doing every day, because it's going to take a few years. It's super important for you to enjoy. That's kind of my
thank you, man. Thank you. And then obviously with everything I'm doing with Open Source Workplace, that resonates 100% with me. So like, thank you. I appreciate it. Sure. Shahar, as always, really good to chat with you.
Thank you, sir. Have fun.